You are listening to Pivot Parenting, episode 211, Disciplining Your Teen Effectively. Welcome to Pivot Parenting, the place where we recognize when your parental role needs to shift and how to do it. I'm your host and parenting expert, Heather Frazier. Hey, how's it going? I hope that you're having a fabulous day wherever I'm joining you. And I want to share with you for just a second. In chapter 4 of my book, How I Fix My Teen, this chapter is called I Suck So Bad and Everyone Sees That. I love the names of my chapters, and I'm loving how well my book is doing and how well it's being received. If you haven't read it or listened to it, let me just tell you. In chapter 4, I talk about judgment. And judgment and discipline go hand in hand when we're left to our own devices. But actually, judgment for ourselves and for our teen, it undermines our ability to discipline. And so if you like what you hear in today's episode, you will like even more the detail, the stories, my journal entries that I share about trying to figure out how to drop judgment, how to love and help my child. It's all in there. So today, let's talk about discipline. The Latin root of the word is to learn, and it's tied to disciple, which is kind of exciting. I didn't really realize that until I Googled it. Google said disciple and discipline are of the same root, which is to learn. It's not to control, not to feel remorse or change course or do what you want. So throughout today's episode, if you're listening to this because you want to learn the tips and tricks of controlling your teen or making them feel sorry so that they will change course and do what you want, keep listening, but this ain't it. Sorry, and I love you. I have something better to offer to you because I'm guessing that if that's the situation, you've probably tried a lot of things to get your teen to yield. And it probably has blown up in your face a few times. So I'm going to teach you something even better today, which is to learn. You get to learn, and then they get to learn if they want to by what you're modeling and teaching them through your words and actions. As with many things, why should come first. And sometimes it's also last. Why we're doing something. Your reason for discipline should be one that creates goodness, connection, love, whatever your long-term quality goals are. And by long-term quality goals, I do not mean to get them to comply, live the life you want, never have struggle or make poor choices. Those things, my friend, sound lovely, but they are poison and they're beyond your control. That is your child's agency to create the life that they want. Just like your parents don't get to say how you do things. They're growing into their own person. And so I recommend having long-term quality goals like a loving relationship with them or fine-tuning your own personal and mental headspace so that you can model that for them to see and learn from if they want to. I like to clear this up with a simple question. Is this a me problem or is this something that they get to sort through? If your goal or what you're wanting to accomplish through discipline is actually a me problem, then it doesn't pass the test of why. And that's something that you get to talk to a professional or journal or do whatever you need to do to work through it for you. Me problems, again, sound like I want to feel better, so I need them to change in some way. They're driving me crazy. They're worrying me all night and day. I can't sleep because of what they're doing. Those are me problems. And we don't want to discipline from those spaces. It doesn't turn out as powerfully as what I'm about to explain. Okay, so that's the number one. If your reason to discipline does not pass the why test, email me or a therapist or a coach or a really smart friend. Talk to them about it and sort it out. If it does pass the why test, the second thing that we proceed to is the what test. You need to know what to do to teach your child. Again, the word teach, not control or have them do anything. We are simply teaching. So if they broke phone rules, for example, then there should be a proportional consequence. As our kids get older, have you noticed that we have less control of their lives and thus less to use as a punishment? It often comes down to freedoms such as a phone, car keys, curfew. There's like a few things, and that's about it. It used to be that we could send them to bed early. We could cancel their play dates. We could do all kinds of things. But the closer to 18 they get and the more autonomy they get, which we want for them, we do not want them to remain as a 2-year-old where we can pick them up and move them wherever we want. Our scope of influence as far as consequences really diminishes. This is good. Natural consequences are what adulthood is all about. And it's our job to help them see and understand these natural consequences and the shift from being a little kid to an adult while still within the safety of our net, of our home. This is where the value is. Let me give you an example. You tell them to go to bed and they're like playing video games or on the TV or whatever. And then you go to bed because you're tired. You're like, hey, 5 minutes, wrap it up. Good night. Turns out they binged 2 more hours on Netflix or a video game. And the next morning, they're tired and it causes issues for them. Maybe they're late to school. Maybe they're late for team practice or a job, or they get up, but then they're grumpy all day. Maybe they were upset and spoke unkindly to a friend, and now their friend is responding on that same juvenile level. Going back to the Latin root to learn, we don't need to say, I told you so, or try to fix it for them. We just need to talk it over because this is their learning experience. We're helping them learn. And only if they want it. If they say, I know, and they won't talk to you, that's cool too. That's another really valuable lesson for them to learn. And you can allow space for that as well. I want to pause for just a second. Let's talk about shame. This is a very familiar sensation when wrongdoings have occurred. Even if it is just, I should have gone to bed earlier. I'm so dumb. I've even had clients say that they don't feel like they've done a good job if their kids don't feel really bad. So then they lecture, punish, give the silent treatment, or freak out on their teen until a contrite, ashamed child is before them. Here's the deal with shame. It's a paralytic. It freezes us, makes us changed, next to impossible, and sabotages lasting improvement and happiness. You can't build something with crap and expect it to be lovely and desirable. Meaning, Let me give you an example. Most of people can relate to this through our bodies because our world that we live in is so visually driven. Many feel shame around their figure. Too short, too tall, squishy, big, dimpled, pale, dark, scrawny, big. Basically, modern beauty industry tells us that there's something undesirable about us. And then they so obligingly sell us the solution with lots of shame wrapped up in it. Like, oh, don't let people see you without makeup on, or you need this to make you like acceptable to other people. But when we try to make something beautiful or desirable out of something ugly, like our self-loathing, we can't, it's hard to arrive and feel beautiful, and it's hard to be happy. And even if we feel those things, it's fleeting. This is why people who punish themselves to lose weight always gain it back. Because you can't use crap to create something beautiful. This is why diets come and go, but our society doesn't maintain the smaller weight or impossible concept of beauty. They do the thing, lose the weight, and realize they still hate who they are, and stop. Move on to the next marketer's solution, never having gotten fixed, because there isn't anything to actually fix other than self-accepting and loving themselves as is. Proper diet and exercise lifestyles feel impossible to those who have shame around their bodies, and intuitive to those who love their bodies as is. It's rejecting the marketed self-objectification we're offered all the time to self-appreciation and seeing our bodies for what they are, a vehicle to enjoy life and love and growth and self-express. That's it. The parallel in parenting to this, now that hopefully you understand the concept that I'm trying to show you, is accepting our kids as is, not objectifying them like we're taught to objectify our bodies or to objectify them, not seeing them as unruly hair to control so that we look nice to others, or dimpled embarrassments to smooth out before others see the truth of what we're hiding. They aren't like red, painful bumps that burst forth upon us to conceal and hide while trying to pop their disobedience, heal their infections. Rather, they're having their hard times, and we don't have to feel shame around their human experience, even if other people see it. It's just a human experience. Let me give you an example. I had a client that had a neighbor call her and tell her that she had just seen her son and his girlfriend in a very steamy car in a nearby parking lot. Shame. She felt like her son was a reflection on her, that she had failed, that others would talk trash and think badly of them, and she wished that the neighbor would have never even told her for the shame that she was feeling. So we see that shame is the opposite of learning. It's conforming, it's hating, it's freezing, it's lashing out. When we're considering the what of discipline, we need to scrub it free of all the shame. Ours and any we may be pushing onto them, or any they may be feeling on their own. Because our society is really great at also pushing shame on people, because they all have their own agenda and benefit from that. So let's say you discover porn on your kid's device. Now, typically, all things sex have shame lurking, especially if you participate in a high-demand religion. Purity culture is alive and harmful. Shame wants to conceal what isn't holy and good. Most parents feel like a failure if their kid is engaging in what they see as inappropriate sexual behavior, like the mom with her son in the steamy car. And yet, weird how we're all actually sexual beings to varying degrees, but we all have sexuality within us. If we didn't, the human race would cease to exist. I think, this is just my opinion, you can take it or leave it, that God made us this way as a gift, not a test or a punishment. Our sexuality is a huge experience of this life, and one that I think is meant for goodness, fun, connection, emotional, physical, and spiritual intimacy. So back to the porn. Shame drives discipline to sound like, how could you? We taught you better. God is so disappointed in you. You'll ruin all of your future relationships. You're dirty and bad. That's somebody's sister. That's somebody's mother. That's somebody's loved one. You need to suppress your urges and not ever want that garbage again. Now you have a teen who thinks they're broken, bad, and unlovable, and also doesn't feel like it's a good idea for them to ever tell you anything again or be better at hiding it so you don't find it ever again, which makes it harder for them to understand what's really going on or to create change if they want it or feel better about themselves. But why then are we created as sexual creatures? If we're supposed to feel bad about the desire that we have and the curiosity, what if our desire to connect in such a way is a divine part of us? Let's look at a non-shaming response and how that could sound. Maybe something more like this. I get it. Sex is a very curious thing and totally natural for you to wonder about it. Your body was built to respond in a very pleasurable way to sexual things. It means you're healthy. What were you hoping for when you sought it out? And is that what you found? What was your emotional experience around that? There's nothing wrong with you. You're a healthy person who is on a new frontier of a more adult perspective in all things, not just sex. Let's chat about this, the positives, the way to look at and understand our adult responsibility to others as a member of society. Let's talk about how our actions impact ourselves, our relationships, the community, because we impact all of those things. And let's be honest and look at this, and I want your input, and let's sit and talk about this. When we drop the shame and show them how they can too, it's so much easier to discuss, understand, and strategize around. We may not think porn is healthy or righteous, or maybe we think it's normal. Either way, shame doesn't serve us in parenting around it or any other topic. We can drop the shame in grades, who their friends are, dating, curfew, chores, religion, and you'll find a teen who is happier to discuss and listen, which makes it easier to discipline or to not even need to discipline because you never get to that point because you have good conversations and understanding around these things and you're on the same page. This is our most powerful teaching approach, especially when it's coupled with respect. Now, we get to go first with respect. We get to show our kids how that's done. And our respect is not to be earned. Our respect should be freely given. It doesn't mean that we don't have boundaries and that we don't also show self-respect. But to not play dirty or to fight dirty with our teen is really essential. Understanding their views, what's most important to them, and recognizing that their opinion is just as valid as ours or anyone else, even and especially if it's different, is huge. Okay, let's review the what step. What to do to teach your child. Drop the shame, show respect, And then we want to have some rules. You and your teen need to be aware of the rules and the consequences tied to each. Parents in the home should be on the same page. Parents who live in a different home get to have their own rules, and we don't need to worry about them. When it's appropriate, and you are the best judge of this, involving the kids and making the rules and consequences is highly recommended because it yields better results. They're invested, they feel like it's a collaborative effort, and they will more likely comply. So if you can include your kid in the rules, I advise to do that. All right, let's talk about some hows. How do we do all of this? And I'm going to start with the don'ts. Don't make a rule you won't follow through with the consequence. And also know that there are exceptions to pretty much every rule. So have a little bit of flexibility when your intuition tells you that it's the better way. For example, let's say your kid comes home and they're late for curfew. Typically, they would lose the car for the rest of the week or whatever consequence you agreed on. But they're not usually late, and they have a really valid reason that was beyond their control, or they chose to be late because it served a greater purpose. Listen to that, follow your intuition. Okay, another don't. Don't expect them to respond how you want. They may not be sorry. They may disagree. They may argue with you. They may be passive aggressive or sulk or try to punish you in another way. It's okay. We can model for them emotional intelligence while suffering consequences. Don't define your success by their obedience or lack of. You just always get to think that you're a good mom or dad. And it's kind of amazing. Don't make it a big deal and have lots of emotion. Bummer you were late. Now you don't get the car tomorrow. Too bad you didn't do the dishes. Now you get 2 dishwashers. That's it. That's all you need. You sitting and talking, you crying, yelling, that actually is not helpful. It's counterproductive. Choice, consequence. If they want to talk about it, great. If they want to go in circles and go rounds with you, I've had some kids do this, where they follow me around the house until I yield or I change my mind. One of my favorite sayings actually is my husband's. Once they know that I understand them and there's no new information being shared, I just simply say, I see your perspective and things aren't going to change. And then
Heather is the one, an expert in the field. She knows her parenting stuff, including how confusing it can be. You've tried it all, and it's a lot.